Welcome everyone to the Macquarie University webinar for the Bachelor of Commerce and Master of Commerce graduate. Good afternoon from Sydney, Australia. My name is Rita and I'm the Bachelor of Commerce alumna from Macquarie University. And I have with me today Professor Catriona Lavermicocca to talk to you about the Bachelor of Commerce and Master of Commerce degree structure and career outcomes. So for the webinar today, we are going to go through a short 15-minute Q&A talking show with Catriona here, where we'll talk through the degree structures for both of the Master of Commerce and Bachelor of Commerce. And after our Q&A, we're going to open up the floor for questions from all of you. So you're all here today because you have an offer for either the Bachelor of Commerce or the Master of Commerce from Macquarie University for Session 1 2020. And we hope today's webinar will answer some of your questions about the university, about our degrees and also our career outcomes. So I guess to start it off in the webinar today, Catriona, could you introduce yourself and tell us, about Macquarie Business School, how you got to where you are?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm the Associate Dean of Macquarie Business School and I look after essentially postgraduate programs, but I've taught across undergraduate, postgraduate. I've taught on the Bachelor of Commerce and the Master of Commerce. My area of expertise is taxation law. Perhaps that doesn't sound so exciting, but a really, really important part of studying business and applying and making business decisions. So I have a long history of working at Macquarie in an academic role, and I was actually a student myself here many, many years ago. I do a lot of work in the curriculum design space, course director for the Master of Accounting in the past, University Quality and Standards Committee Chair, but I'm really passionate about both the Bachelor of Commerce and the Master of Commerce and the opportunities that it provides students to choose from a major or from a specialisation in the MCom, but also to dabble a little bit in some other areas of business studies whilst completing a specialist area.
We're so lucky to have you here today, Catriona. So in terms of the Macquarie Business School, what's the school like? How big is the school at Macquarie University?
Yes. Okay, so Macquarie Business School is the largest faculty/school in Macquarie University. We have around 17,000 students in the business school, so it's huge. It's really big. It's one of the biggest business schools in Australia as well. But not only are we big, we have the ability to offer some really broad courses in accounting, large numbers, but more boutique courses in areas like business analytics, forensic accounting, entrepreneurship, and many more. And you'll see from the range of majors in the BCom how many areas of expertise we do have in our business school. I think that we are also a very collaborative school because we're located in the centre of a business park, a technology largely park, but it's a business park. And so we have many collaborations with businesses around us. And they work with students in the classroom on projects and also potentially offer internships and employment for students when they finish. So it's really about we're a big school, but we're also a member of a community that we are located in and working with the businesses around us for opportunities for students.
And we have around 300 plus businesses around this area in this community as well. So it's a very big community we have around this Macquarie Park area.
It is.
So in terms of the degrees that we offer in the Bachelor of Commerce and Master of Commerce, could you walk us through the unique features of both of the degrees?
Okay, thank you, Rita. I think I'll start with the Bachelor of Commerce first. So one of the unique features of the Bachelor of Commerce is there are 13 majors to choose from. The most popular majors from past experience are around accounting, marketing, economics, international business, finance as well. So there's some of the key ones, the staples that have been really popular over many years, but we have some amazing other majors that really speak to some of the current issues in the business world today, like cybersecurity, business analytics. I've probably forgotten one, but there are many really fabulous opportunities that arise from completing one of those 13 majors. But the other thing about the Bachelor of Commerce, whilst we have a fantastic list of majors, the structure of the Bachelor of Commerce does provide the opportunity for students to do a double major. So under the 2020 curriculum, students have what we call a flexible zone, and it may sound like something that's a bit, it's not that relevant for students, but it is actually, because the flexible zone gives students the ability to choose 8 units outside the prescribed units in the course, and 8, coincidentally, equates to another major. Now, that's a choice students might want to make. They might want to do a major in a certain area as well as top it off perhaps with some business analytics. Or they may want to do some study from other areas and really have a multidisciplinary Bachelor of Commerce. So they might want to do a little bit more marketing or economics, or they may actually want to do something quite different to any of the units they've studied in their major. The other thing that I think is really strong about the BCom is that we do have a foundation of units that every major does. So everyone, no matter what major you're doing, will do the foundation units in the program. And that's really important because it sets you up with a broad range of knowledge and experience across different areas of business. So whilst you may do a major, for example, in economics, you will have studied some accounting, you would have studied some management, finance, and that's a really good thing, I think, around the BCom, because your opportunities are quite open, even after your first year of study. If you come here and you've elected to do a certain major, but you find out when you do your foundation that really you love another area, you can either pick that up as a second major, or you could actually change your majors and not lose any time. There's some really technical things I think about the BCom. I will talk a bit about the Master of Commerce as well, because I'm quite passionate about that Masters. It is a very popular and long existing Masters. So that Masters of Commerce, it has for 2025 specialisations. In similar language to how I talked about the BCom, the Master of Commerce also has what we call a flexible zone, which is 4 units, which would allow you to do a second specialisation. So you could do 2. Now, the specialisations in the Master of Commerce, I mentioned there's 5 of them, so they're not as broad as the BCom, but they include accounting, business management and organisations, finance, human resource management, that's right, and marketing. So again, you have a foundation of units that you do in the Master of Commerce. If you have an undergraduate bachelor degree that is in business, you would be able to apply at an admission point, 120 credit point admission point, and you wouldn't need to do that foundation. But you go into and you do 4 core and you do your specialisation. I probably think that's enough technical discussion at the moment, but what I will say is that the really strong specialisations that provide an opportunity for you to really up the ante in your knowledge in business. Again, it might mean that you have done a marketing course, for example, in your bachelor, but you just really want to get some advanced knowledge in marketing, so you do a marketing specialisation in your MCom. Alternatively, you may have done a bachelor in an entirely different discipline. You didn't study business. You might choose the Master of Commerce because the Master of Commerce provides an opportunity for you to do the foundation that will bring you up to the level where you do the advanced units. The advanced units that cover some general areas, but also the specialisation you want to do. And again, you can do a second specialisation, or you can choose units from a wide range of business areas. So I think it is a strong postgraduate qualification. It does provide lots of opportunities for students to really step up their degree, step up their level of employment, and we know the data in Australia demonstrates that having a master's degree really can add to your salary payments quite substantially.
That sounds like wonderful degrees that we have here at Macquarie Business School, Catriona. And I myself studied a Bachelor of Commerce, and I did make the choice of doing a double major in accounting and marketing. And I could testify how that really doubled my career prospects and give me options in terms of what jobs I could get after graduation. So in terms of the degree and what we teach in our degrees, what do you think are the skill sets that we make sure that graduates from the Bachelor of Commerce and the Master of Commerce get after they graduate? Make sure they actually get get sought after by employers nowadays.
Okay, so thanks, Rita, too, for that question. I think that's really important as well, because in the first part of the presentation I've done, or the answering of questions today, I've focused on the technical areas, but we know that the future of work, increasingly it's the soft skills, it's the generic skills, it's the ability to communicate, to problem solve, to critically think, to apply ethics. Those are really fundamental skills that employers are looking for. And I mean, I think technology has played a big part in that shift of emphasis, but it'll continue to shift, I imagine, as technology plays out in the workplace. So at Macquarie University, across all courses, we have some, and particularly in the business school, we have some explicit skills that we address that every student will develop when they complete our programs. So it includes problem solving, communication, critical thinking, sustainability, ethics, and I think there's one other that I might have forgotten while I look that up. Teamwork, of course. How important. Number one skill employers are asking for, that potential recruits have the ability to work in a team, to collaborate. So fundamental in what you learn whilst you're at Macquarie studying a BCom or an MCom, or in fact any course in the business school, is teamwork. And working in teams to complete assessments, to make presentations, to ensure that you get things done at university is really fundamental. And so those are key skills. And on top of all of that is embedding technology, so that as students are learning, they're using and developing their technology skills. Because that's what employers need in their graduates that they recruit. That's what employers need in their senior management teams as well. So from all levels of employment, those kind of skills are really fundamental. The other thing I just would say too is sustainability is a key feature of our BCom and our Master of Commerce. So knowledge around sustainability, and what do I mean by that? Corporate social responsibility is really key. The sustainable development goals are embedded across your learning in all the discipline areas. So I think that's a really big piece of work that we have been doing over the last 5 years to explicitly address those skills in the curriculum content.
And it's amazing how all the units are very well structured to provide all of those knowledge over a 2-year for a Master of Commerce, or a 3-year period. And it's embedded all of our assignments, our group projects, our lecture slides, and I think there's also a capstone unit at the end of each degree as well.
Yes.
What is a capstone unit? And what does that mean for these students in the degrees?
Yeah, Rita. So every course at Macquarie has a capstone unit. And what do we mean by capstone for Macquarie? It's a unit in which students reflect back on what they've learnt in their course, but also look forward and think about the next steps in their journey. So it's quite a consolidated unit, a unit where you consolidate knowledge, but you start to see and identify how that's going to play out in your career as you move forward. And so Macquarie University is really strong in the area of capstones. In fact, just this year we've been received a grant from the university to develop one capstone unit for the BCom that will apply to every major. And one of the key things about that capstone unit is it will bring together students from all of the different majors working on projects together. And it really will speak to the nature of the workforce. So when you get to the end of your course, usually the capstone's at the end. Remember, it's a unit looking back, but looking forward. You will be working not only with people that have done the same major as you, but people that have done majors in other areas. And you will work on projects or a large project, and apply some of the stuff that you've learnt. But you're going to be applying it whilst getting along with others in the team and getting the best out of them and working out who's the leader, who's got the skill set to do certain things in that team project. So I think the capstone is a really fundamental thing that'll set you up when you finish your degree to move out to the workforce. I will say the Master of Commerce as well has a capstone, and that is a really innovative capstone in that it involves a simulation. So it's a simulation of a business, and you work on a business issue. And again, you work on that business issue with people in the specialisation in accounting, HR, marketing, management and finance. And so you can imagine how those different skill sets will be used to work on that simulation. So both are really strong. I think both the undergraduate BCom and the postgraduate MCom are really strong on its I've talked about skills, I've talked about knowledge, but also the really practical things around getting ready to go out in the workforce and add value, because employers want you to add value from day one. You know, it's not about getting your trainer wheels on. You've got to be able to really contribute from the time that you start with them.
And I would have to say the capstone was actually my favorite unit in my Bachelor of Commerce degree. In my capstone, I got a chance to work on a real project from a big bank in Australia, whose CEO actually came to the Macquarie campus, gave us a real and present business problem, and gave us the data and the information that we need to solve that problem. And at the end of it, we actually also got the chance to present our solution or our recommendation to the senior executive team in the head office in Sydney. It was just an amazing chance for us to actually get exposed to the real industry, network professionals, and prepare ourselves for the workforce when we actually get when we go and get jobs in the future. So I get just one question. So besides doing well in classes, doing well in engaging with your friends and your teachers in class, what else do you advise students to do during their degree to make sure they set themselves up well for their future careers?
Okay. Yeah, so it isn't just about the classroom time, and that classroom time is busy, as you can imagine from what I've been saying so far. But it does feed on from that, because what employers are looking for, what's going to set you up for success in your career is going to be a well-rounded person, having those soft skills, but also having lots of technical knowledge that you can then apply and further develop. So getting involved in clubs, getting involved in volunteer work, getting involved in things provided and available at the university and outside are going to contribute to your ability to work as a team, to your confidence, to your resume, where you can say to employers, look, I'm someone that can fit in. These are the kinds of things I've done. I've developed my emotional intelligence. In fact, recent research, not just by Macquarie University, but a number of businesses, including LinkedIn, put up emotional intelligence as one of the #1 skills that employers are looking for in their recruits. So by you getting involved in a student club, perhaps taking on a leadership responsibility within that club, you're going to be developing some of your emotional intelligence, because you're going to be forced to get projects happening, get things done, get others to come along on that journey. It's an opportunity to develop leadership, which is another skill that is really advantageous for an employer, to have someone who's got that ability to bring others along with them. So, and I say clubs, but there's lots and lots of opportunities at Macquarie to get involved in things. And things that will actually directly benefit you as a recipient, but also if you're one of those involved, that you will actually lead it. So we have things like first step mentoring, where when you start at Macquarie with the Bachelor of Commerce, you can volunteer to join in the first step mentoring scheme, where you benefit from an academic mentor as well as a student mentor, and they can help you through your first semester at Macquarie University. So that's a wonderful scheme, and I've been participating in that for, I think, since it started about 6 or 7 years ago. But the other thing about that is many of the mentees, many of the students that started at Macquarie are really shy and not knowing anyone. A year down the track, they actually become a student mentor themselves, and they mentor other students. We have the Lucy mentoring scheme for female students, where they can shadow an individual working in business and have received mentorship from that individual. We have the PAL initiative. This is all in the Bachelor of Commerce, where you can go to PAL support sessions, where other students can assist you with understanding the material in your units. That's also available in the Master of Commerce in the foundation units as well. So that how support sessions, you can volunteer to attend, but you can go along and get additional tuition. We have student representative scheme across both the Bachelor and the Masters, where you can get involved as a student representative representing your cohort. And in that role, you provide feedback to the academic, feedback around what's working, what's not working. It's a really fabulous scheme. And certainly I've appreciated having student reps that have given me feedback to improve the classroom situation. So I think there are just a number of things that I can think of off the top of my head. There's entrepreneurial teams, there's many, many more, and you know, certainly some of the questions that might come up later on might ask me about some of the other initiatives. Having said that, it's a great place to study too. So there's lots around that you can get involved in. You might want to work part-time. There's a really large shopping centre where a lot of the students work across the street. But there's lots of opportunities for you to do other things, because you're developing you as a person that will go on and have a career, but also have a life with other things in it.
That sounds wonderful, Catriona. Great degree structures, very flexible, very diverse major choices. Endless opportunities to engage on campus in extracurricular activities in these initiatives the business school is putting on. So in terms of career outcomes, I know it varies by major when you choose a degree, but what are the career outcomes that graduates expect to get from a degree? And what will be the salary range expected for both bachelor graduates and master graduates?
Yes, okay. So I did look up the salary expectations. There's some Australia-wide data for salary, and I think for commerce studies at undergraduate level, the average starting salary is almost 60,000 Australian dollars. For postgraduate studies in commerce, the average starting salary is 110,000 Australian dollars. So obviously the Master of Commerce is a lot more, because you will have had experience anyway, but you certainly up the ante in terms of your knowledge and your expertise by completing a master's. I think in terms of employability, Macquarie University does really, really well in that space. And so one of the recent surveys of the quality of students at Macquarie performed really well, or the students did anyway. So we get a lot of really good feedback on employability of our business graduates. And many of those graduates come back and recruit Macquarie students as well. So, you know, some of the metrics that you can see around employability are really, really positive. And I think it's a function too of the fact that we work with business. We ask business what they're looking for in a graduate. We're not making decisions in isolation. And so what we develop in our course and what we put a focus on is around an informed decision about what the business community is looking for.
That sounds really wonderful. I guess it's time for us to open up the floor for questions from all of you. If you have any questions, please message them through to us and we will answer them live as we go along. I have a first question coming through. So the first question is from an anonymous attendee.
Yes.
Can I club my program with any other degree at Macquarie University?
Yeah, so that means doubled, I think. I think that's the question, club my program. Yeah. So yes, so that's the fabulous thing, Macquarie's 2020 curriculum, both the Bachelor of Commerce and the Master of Commerce both have the potential to double with any other degree, unless there is a small exclusions list, but that's due to overlap. But yes, I think the Bachelor of Commerce is going to be a really strong degree that will be doubled with a variety of other degrees across the university. The structure of the BCom provides and facilitates doubling. Because you remember those 8 units, that flexible zone I mentioned early on that's in the BCom? When you double it with another degree, that flexible zone drops off. You don't have to do it. And what fills that space is the core content of another bachelor. So multiple opportunities. In fact, we can't even imagine as a university what are going to be the popular doubles. It's about students looking at well, I'm doing a BCom. What areas do I want to work in the future? Maybe you might want to work in media. You might want to look at doubling with media. But maybe you just want to have a really broad business qualification, so that you might do a BCom with a specialist business degree like business analytics or accounting or any of the others, finance. You might want to take that avenue. So I think that's really important to look at whether a double might be the right thing for you. I think also don't be too concerned about making that decision right now. It's something that you can look at making after you arrive at Macquarie University. If you're just doing you're doing a single degree, and consider signing up for a double, because you don't lose out. You don't lose out by starting a year of a Bachelor of Commerce and then thinking, oh my God, I want to double it, because the same units apply to the double as does the single, certainly in the first year. For the MCom, similarly, it's a really good structure, and I kind of hesitate to go into too much detail because it might sound complicated even though it's not. But the MCom as well, that flexible zone of 4 units drops off if you double it. Which potentially would bring down the MCom to 1.5 years. The other thing that you might want to look at, and I mentioned this early on too, is with the MCom, we have that foundation zone, which is 4 units as well. Now, if you have an undergraduate bachelor degree, then potentially you can drop the foundation. So there's a few things that you could talk to the advisors about, but certainly doubling the Master of Commerce with another Master's could potentially be done in 2 years itself. But certainly that would need some detailed advice, but very, very much possible. And something to consider, because when I was talking before about what employers are looking for, they're looking for people that have a multitude of skills, they demonstrate leadership. In fact, one of the words I didn't use, but are words that I've heard from employers, they are graduates with a questioning mind. And I think by having a diverse qualification that's not so specialised, and I think the BCom and the MCom is like that, but if you were to add another aspect in making it a double, I think that also speaks to that interesting person.
Thank you, Catriona. That sounds very good. Very good question here. So how is the Master of Commerce different from the MBA?
Okay, so a few things around the differences. Typically, certainly at Macquarie University, our MBA requires 3 years of managerial experience. Okay, so that's one fundamental difference at Macquarie. Having said that, there are other universities, their MBA can be completed without having work experience. So that certainly is not inconvenient. Yeah. So that's one of the key things from a Macquarie University perspective, but there are some other differences. I mean, having said that, there's some similarities, but you'll note with an MCom, you do have a specialist area. It's relatively technical, so you might be studying economics, or you might be studying marketing, you might be studying accounting. With an MBA, yes, you need to have that accounting, economics fundamental knowledge, but you really focus on leadership, on management, on organisational theory, behaviour, negotiation skills. I mean, unless it's a specialist MBA, it's really more around the leadership, strategy, management, and I suppose that's where the really key difference is in terms of what you learn. I think the other thing, though, is that I have seen instances where people have done an MCom and they've received credit if they later go on to do an MBA. Yeah, so someone who maybe is not ready, hasn't had the managerial experience for an MBA, but later on in their career they do, then they could get credit for some of the units they've done at postgraduate level in the Masters. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful, Catriona. Thank you. I have a good question here as well. So are there any internship opportunities under the BCom, the MCom?
Yep. So both do. So both the BCom has a specific internship unit, but that is an elective and it is a competitive process. But every student in the BCom does have what we would say is a work integrated learning experience by virtue of the PACE initiative. So I talked about the Capstone before, which certainly has an element of working with business. And I think the example Rita gave, where she actually worked with a bank or people in the bank and presented their business solution. However, PACE, in addition, every student in the undergraduate does a PACE and a Capstone. The PACE unit is a Word integrated learning unit, and every course at Macquarie has a PACE unit. And in the PACE unit, you will work with business. The form it takes may vary depending on the course you're doing and the specialisation you're doing, but that means that you'll be working with a business person at the university, at the business person's premises, working on a true business problem, work integrated learning. And PACE, you might think, what does that mean? It stands for professional and community engagement. And every student at Macquarie will have that experience, whether they've been accepted for an explicit internship or not. And I think also you'll find a lot of the units have employers embedded in them. So we get employers into the classroom in the undergraduate programs, the Bachelor of Commerce, to take classes, to mentor students. I mentioned the Lucy Mentor Scheme as well. So there are a number of ways in which you do connect with business, but also there's the explicit PACE or work integrated learning unit. For the MCom, there is an internship elective as well. Okay, so that you can choose to do that internship elective in your flexible zone. It's not a core unit, so you may choose to do an internship, may choose not to. And we have some fabulous opportunities for students to work with employers. The advantage Macquarie has is that we are, as I mentioned right at the beginning too, we're located in a business park and we have lots of employers around us. But we also just don't work with those that are located in North Ryde. We have a whole network of employers that we liaise with for internships. So yeah, both programs do have an internship opportunity.
And under my program, I was very lucky that I actually got the chance to intern with a very big marketing agency, and the university actually helped place me into that internship in that company. And also not just internship, because in my program, I got a chance to go to so many networking events organized by the university, which was a chance for me to expose myself to industry professionals who could be a good connection when I need to look for internships or for graduate jobs after I graduate, which was an amazing thing in my degree.
Yeah.
So I have a good question from ECMA. ECMA is interested in the 1-year program for master degrees.
Yes.
What are the pros and cons of a 1-year master degree?
Okay. I think the pros is that it's shorter. So the Master of Commerce is 2 years standard. So we have the different entry points. There's 160 credit point, 120 and 80 credit point entries. So the 1-year program is an 80 credit point entry. If you want to come to university, get it done quickly, and you want to finish and get out of here and get working or keep working. But what you need to have to do the 1-year program is you need to have done a bachelor in a business, okay, of some sort, or accounting, some kind of undergraduate commerce, accounting, business degree, and have achieved a WAM of over 65. That means that you don't have to do the foundation and you don't have to do the flexible zone. So you just do the 8 core unit, which include 4 core in the MCom that everyone in the MCom does, and 1 specialisation. And then you say, well, why would someone do that as opposed to the 2 years? I mentioned duration, it's shorter and cheaper. But also if someone, what are you looking for? If you're looking for some expert knowledge in addition to what you gained from your undergraduate degree in some specific areas, and that's what you're looking for, well, you come in and you get that expert knowledge. You get that expert knowledge at a higher postgraduate level, which adds to your skill sets and your marketability out in the marketplace. Alternatively, if you want to come and do a 2-year course because you'd like to be eligible for the post-study visa, then you would choose the 2-year course, even if you may already have an undergraduate business degree. If you're someone that doesn't have an undergraduate business degree, at the very least, it's going to be 1.5 years. You need to do that foundation because you need to understand the fundamentals of accounting, marketing, finance, and management to really get up and running at the postgraduate level.
That sounds awesome. I have an interesting question coming through here. So why should I choose Macquarie University to study a commerce degree over any other university?
Okay, that's a good question. And I think probably the answer comes from so much of what I've talked about already today, and it's a combination of things. It's a combination of really well-targeted courses that are really developed in collaboration with business, telling us what they're looking for. It incorporates not just knowledge but skills, and we've been really disciplined about that. We're really explicit about where you're going to develop teamwork, communication, problem solving. It's a place where you won't just sit and listen and learn stuff to remember. You'll actually apply it and do something with it, so that you will work with businesses. Businesses are going to be part of your learning process in the lecture theatre, in the classroom, working on projects. So you're not studying in isolation. You're actually going to be applying it and doing and working on projects. Actually, assessments across the board are applied assessments largely, where you'll apply what you've learned. I think the location is amazing. We're located in an amazing business park, so that's not explicit to the business school. It's a fabulous location, and I think others can talk about how it's really handy. I think we're a forward-looking university in that we are a relatively young university, and we can do things in a fresh way. We're not bound so much by restrictions and rules. So we have a fabulous incubator where we allow not-for-profits to come and run their businesses, and we get students to come in and work as entrepreneurs and with other entrepreneurs on those projects. We have things like First Step mentoring. We have Lucy mentoring. They're things that are a little bit different because we can be. And I also think that our focus is about the student. When we developed the curriculum for 2020, always the conversation was not about us and not about anyone else, but what would be in the best interest of the student. And I think we're pretty good at always remembering that. So yeah, there's a few things. I think a lot of the things I've been talking about today probably speak to other things, but that's in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Catriona, for your time today, and we hope you found the webinar helpful. We'll have to wrap up the webinar now, but we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar to everyone who attended today, and we'll be getting in touch with you to answer any of your questions you have any after the webinar. Thank you, everyone, today, and have a good day.
Thank you.